Is it working? 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 It looks like it's working. Looks like it's working. It looks like it's working. Okay then. All right, we're on. We're here, everyone. Hi. Welcome to a live stream on the YouTube channel that, the main YouTube channel, that I hope to make a regular segment on this YouTube channel, bi-weekly segment, not twice a week, like once every other week. That's pretty much the idea that I have behind these live streams, these Q&A live streams. Follow your melon at all the social media down below, because that's really important. Follow your melon. Always follow your melon. And also down in the description, there should be a link down there in the description. You know, if I'm wrong, hit up the channel section of the main channel, and it'll be there. We just started a new channel the other day where I mostly put up rants and reactions to music industry stuff. It's just YouTube Anthony Fantano. It's not youtube.com/Anthony Fantano. We just named the channel Anthony Fantano right now. I may talk about things on that channel that are not directly music related if it sort of seems like it makes sense to do so at a certain time. But as of right now, it's pretty much just going to be music stuff. So check out that channel. A few videos up there right now. Ranty, rambly ass videos. The latest one, I tell Gene Simmons to copyright this because he's a bitch ass bitch who's trying to copyright this. So if he's going to copyright this, he should copyright this, you bitch. Anyway, so in this live stream, as I said, it's a Q&A live stream. I'm going to try to be taking, if I can, like questions from either the chat, if there's a chat. I'm also going to be doing super chat, shout outs and responses, obviously, and I'm going to be doing super chat questions. And the thing about these live streams is we're going to take them and upload chunks of them onto the second channel. So basically some questions that get asked that I feel are good questions or we feel are good questions that might make for good content, your super chat or your chat question could become, a part of a video in a future sort of video on that new sort of talkative ranty ass channel. Although now the chat is flying so fast and filled with pictures of melons that if you do want to ask a question, I'd probably suggest the super chat more than anything. So yeah, we're going to be taking questions. We're going to be doing shout outs, and basically I'm going to be chilling with you guys for the next hour. And, we're going to do this again, down the road, like, not a week from now, 2 weeks from now, because again, every other week we're going to be doing these. So I'm going to wait for some questions and super chats to kind of pile up. Before I do that, I wanted to talk about something really quick in regards to something I caught online the other day. I'm definitely going to have this sort of be a segment on the channel. So Rivers Cuomo posted up something on his Instagram, a picture with like a little bit of a blurb there, a little bit of I guess a complaint, a rant, where he was talking about, not there, where is it? I think it's over here. Is it over here? I don't think it's over there. Where the heck is it? No, that's not it. No, that's not it. I can't even find it now. Where the heck is it? All right. So should be over here. Okay. Getting it. Here we go. So Rivers Cuomo posts this picture up on Instagram over here. And under it, he puts this caption. He says, "When people say Weezer sucks past Pinkerton, I am left to wonder if they have ever listened to the other albums. Part of the beauty of Weezer is never knowing what you're going to get. Some albums I love more than others, but each one stands out in its own unique way." Sorry, that's just so funny to me. Listen, I mean, is it harsh to say that everything Weezer has done post Pinkerton sucks? Like, it just sucks? Like, all of it's fucking trash? It's all garbage? Yeah, I would say that's a little harsh. It's a little, you're overdoing it a little bit. You're overdoing it a little bit. Try to be a little nicer. There's no reason to be that mean about everything Weezer has put out post Pinkerton. But to say that fans have no reason to be disappointed in or dislike the material that you put out past Pinkerton is kind of silly. I mean, not only did you have an incredible debut album, but you come through right afterwards with your sophomore record with this decidedly anti-commercial album that's super distorted, super edgy, really emotional, rough around the edges. You've brought your fans into a completely different direction that's really dark and kind of tortured. They took to it. And then you switched and decided to go in on one of the most commercial trajectories of any rock band of the modern age. Not that there weren't some good hits along the way. I like Pork and Beans. There are some tracks I like off of Green. There are some tracks I like off of Red. Hell, I mean, there were a few moments off of Hurley that I thought were okay. That I remember saying in my review that I thought very positively of. But man, to act like every Weezer album is just this like completely mind-blowing new experience and trip down a different musical rabbit hole, like you're not writing free jazz albums here. You're writing these commercial pop albums. I mean, part of the issue, commercial pop rock albums. Part of the issue with making this charge that everything Weezer did post Pinkerton is like, you never knew what to expect. I mean, actually, we kind of knew exactly what to expect going into each Weezer album. We came to expect like really formulaic, radio-friendly rock music, and pretty much that's it, and we got that. I mean, if there were any surprises, it was that, man, it seems like they somehow managed to write their worst song with each album. At one point that was Beverly Hills, and and it got worse and worse and worse from there. I mean, there was obviously a point where they seemed to turn it around a little bit, and I personally thought that the White Album was great. I mean, for some fans, of course, it's too little too late, and I understand that. But for somebody who loved their sound back in the day, it was great to hear them come through with such a consistent, well-written album. And, again, it's a little harsh to say that it just all sucks. It's all trash. It's all garbage. But I don't know. The fans are complaining for a reason. They're not making these things up. I mean, there are legitimate reasons why the fans feel this way. And I'm going to leave it at that. All right. So that's that. Let me get into some of these things that you guys are saying over here, because I don't want to miss out on any of it. We have Richard E., who says, take off your shirt and take your shirt off, please, Dadthony. That's a $2 super chat he sent through. Richard, listen, I mean, if I'm going to do anything like that, if we're talking clothing removal over here, I'm not doing it for $2, bro. What do you think I am, some kind of stripper? Think I'm a stripper over here? You just throw a fiver in my underwear and I'm just going to remove my clothes for you? No. Bad, Richard. Favorite album of all time? I don't fucking know, man. I mean, I've heard so many goddamn albums, and this is from Sam Hefner Archive. I don't know what my favorite album of all time is. I feel like I've heard so much that it's really hard to choose. And honestly, like, I love so many different styles and vibes and sounds out of music that I can't really think of one single album like brings everything that I just love hearing in music. Because there's just, I could never like pick a punk album because I feel like it would be too one-dimensional for me over time. And I can never like, pick something that's super dynamic because sometimes I like listening to something that's just like, fuck you, And, those aren't the only two dynamics that we could talk about. That's not the only sliding spectrum scale that we could talk about in music. But it's so hard to find one record that sort of embodies everything. And that's really the thing. I love everything. And I'm sorry that's such a bullshit answer, but it's fucking true. I feel like if I were to pick any album, I'd be fucking lying to you. I don't know, like I don't know, maybe like a Godspeed album or something, but that'd be like really pretentious and probably actually not really all that patrician of me, but whatever. Mr. Coolman says, would you consider doing a Death Grips best to worst? I mean, I would. I've talked to my buddy Austin about it, and he's like, why would you do that? You've already reviewed all the records, and people could just take your scores and everything and just kind of like arrange it according to that. And I thought like, okay, yeah, that's pretty much true. But I do have a video coming out this weekend about albums I changed my mind on okay? Like over the years that I've been doing this channel. There are 10 albums I've changed my opinion on. And make sure to watch that video because Death Grips is mentioned in that video. There is a Death Grips album that I do talk about having sort of changed my opinion on, so don't miss that shit. So thank you, Mr. Coolman. Can we get rid of this? Can we get this out of the way and tell the nice people how you got the best teeth in the game? It's just genetics. It's genetics. It's 100% best teeth in the game. It's all genetics. I was just blessed with the best teeth in the game. I brush and floss regularly. However, you know, I have had people point out to me that I do have like a bit of a snaggle tooth down here. And, you know, I think over the years, my teeth have not, are not as white as they were when I think I started the channel. So maybe I should look into some teeth whitening shit. Maybe I should get some Invisalign shit down here, you know, and I think if I'm going to keep the meme going, I have to actually live up to the name and give everybody else competition, because every fucking day I get people sending me pictures of other people's teeth. And there's some people who have some really nice teeth out there. You know, I originally meant that I just had the best teeth in like the music reviewing game. But people seem to sort of extend it past that into just sort of the greater world. I don't think I have the best teeth in the world, but you know, I think I have to actually like invest in the chompers if I'm actually going to like continue to live up to that title. You know, because as of right now, I feel like the only reason I continue to hold it is because nobody else out there is saying that they have the best teeth in the game. I feel like I only have this because I'm the only one who's made the claim. So, yeah. All right, what do I have against pop punk and emo bands? Generally I don't. I mean, I loved the shit out of pop punk and emo in the 90s and the 2000s. If you think I have something against it today, it's most likely because I think a lot of the new pop punk and emo bands don't really bring all that much new shit. Charlie in Charge, that was Austin 811 who sent that in. Charlie in Charge sent $2 in. Thank you. Why You Know Review Pawns the Weather. I actually am going to have that album be in the next Why You Know Review, so look out for that. You know, I'm not really that into it, but you know, look for it in the next Why You Know Review. Ziggy the Ninja says, "Hey Fantano, huge fan of your opinion. The one opinion I have. No, I'm just busting your balls. I think you'd like a guy who's been in the underground for a while named Yazal the Praxis. You should check him out. I will copy that and I will paste it later." Doyle As We Die album review? I don't know. I haven't even heard it. I would have to, I don't know. I would have to see what's up with Doyle As We Die. Have I ever listened to the black metal band Cobalt? I don't think recently, at least not recently enough to recall. Thank you, Mike Welch, though. Did I ever give Danger Kids album Blacklist or Kingdom of Giants album all the hell you've got to spare? Listen, no, I did not. So I cannot comment on that at all. But thank you, M, for asking. Duval DIY Kid sent in $1. Thank you. Mr. Melon Man, why did you become vegan? Anthony Fantano, why did you become vegan? Good question. Good question. Anthony Fantano, why did you become vegan? Generally, I think toward the late end of my teen years, meat was kind of like grossing me out a little bit. You know, I just wasn't really all that into the taste, and I think it was just kind of like turning me off, probably as far as the ethics of the creation of it goes. And so I just kind of went vegetarian. However, I went cold turkey and I didn't know what the fuck to eat, and I totally fucked it up, and I like almost made myself anemic, and it was horrible. But, you know, I stuck with it, and I learned, you know, I got a better grip of nutrition and diet, and, you know, lo and behold, it was just like easy to actually maintain. And then from there, it was just kind of like the slow upward climb to veganism. Not that, you know, it needs to be cold for everybody. Not cold, but slow, excuse me. Not that it needs to be slow for everybody, but I was just kind of slowly approaching it thinking, okay, well, if I'm going to go vegan, I just need to teach myself to cook more and, you know, basically how to subsist completely off of animal products. And, you know, it took me a little bit, but once I finally made that transition, you know, which is today, you know, I'm there. I don't even really think about it. You know, if you hit me up over at Anthony@theneedledrop.com, that is my email address. I send a lot of people a vegan primer when people ask me, hey, you know, where should I get started or what should I know and stuff like that. You know, I just try to tell them some basic stuff that I've learned over the years in sort of like a primer that I've written in an email. I'm not like a dietitian or any shit like that. You know, like, please, if you make yourself sick, consult with a doctor or, you know, maybe even talk with, you know, a real dietitian before you do anything like this. You know, but it's not difficult to do. It's not hard to do as long as you do the research and you teach yourself what you need to know in order to get there. You know, if anybody is sort of interested in what I proposed in regards to that whole email thing, you know, just I'll look for you in my email inbox. All right, guys. Can I review that that guy Black or Six LACK? I'm thinking about it. You know, I'm not really into what he's put out thus far, but you know, the potential is there. Next time he drops a big project, you know, it's the potential is certainly there. Thank you for asking, Warren B. You know, I'm not saying no, it'll never happen, but you know, next time there's a big project or something, it's if people are requesting it and I feel like I have something to say about it, you know, definitely a possibility. Review Chip Skylark's My Shiny Teeth and Me for Classics Week. Hashtag best teeth. Good idea. Good idea. Squalalala 9001. Have I ever listened to My Chemical Romance? Hell yeah, that debut album was the shit when I was in college. I mean, and you know, honestly, like I wasn't ready to admit it was the shit when I was in college. When I was in college, I was way too much of like a fucking old school 80s hardcore punk guy to admit that the debut My Chemical Romance album had like some really good songs on it. But now in retrospect, you know, that debut record is the shit. I mean, you know, I could take or leave much of what they have put out since then, but you know, they're not as trash as some people make them out to be. Anthony, I'm plastered right now. Would you crack a cold one with me? I would crack a cold one for you. You know, I don't know if I would crack one with you, but I would definitely crack one for you. And I'd give you a big fat hug. Anders Gatton, thank you for sending in $10 Canadian. That's like $30 American, so greatly appreciated. Whoa, Kyle's Creamy Meme Stash is sending £5 from the UK. It's probably like 5 a.m. right now in the UK, so thank you for staying awake. It's like, you know, 4 a.m., it's 3:30 a.m., it's 6 a.m. It's actually 5 days into the future into the UK, so I appreciate you staying awake all this time. Thoughts on where Lil Yachty could go after the disaster that was Teenage Emotions? Honestly, I just think Lil Yachty needs to kind of reel it in a little bit and just focus on writing coherent, straight, concise songs. You know, I feel like his Little Boat project was not a bloated project because he didn't have the means to make it bloated. I think he sort of overspent on this album a little bit. You know, he made an album that had 1 million tracks, like a lot of bad beats. It seemed like he didn't really put any effort into the songs because he felt like his hype would just carry him through each track and he didn't really need to put the effort in. You know, I feel like he's sort of touted himself as being this rapper that like, oh, I don't give a fuck about, you know, writing a 16 and all that shit like that. So because he sort of painted himself in that corner, it's almost like he had to force himself not to give a fuck at all. I felt like at least on Little Boat, he was trying a little bit. On this new one over here, didn't so much get that vibe. You know, especially with him sort of allowing the beats to kind of carry the project, in my opinion. And, you know, they were not all that great in terms of instrumentals. But, you know, I think he has the potential to come out with another good project, at least a project that I like, as long as he, you know, sort of buckles down and writes something that's a little more focused. Good question. Thank you, Kyle. Can we get a hot take on the new Queens of the Stone Age single that's released? No. It's going to be in the next best worst. It's going to be in the next best worst. But thank you, Ewan. I love your French last name. Oh, ASMR Sammys. I'm never making an ASMR video for you. Fuck you, ASMR Sammys. Take this clip out of this video and put that in your ASMR, you motherfucker. What is my favorite anime, manga, or J-pop stars? My favorite J-pop star is Kiami Pamu Pamu. My favorite manga is, I don't know what the fuck my favorite manga is. And my favorite anime is probably either Akira or Death Note, because I'm an anime normie. Okay, so leave me alone. Duval DIY Kid has sent in another $2. Thank you very much. David Stern says, yo, what are your thoughts on Damn? Personally, I think Kendrick hit the peak of his groove. Every song is his style. And have you talked to Joji about Pink Sessions? How'd he like your review? I haven't talked to him about Pink Season. I haven't talked to him about Pink Season. Actually, it's actually pretty funny. I've talked to him on the phone at least a few times since I released my review and he released that album. And I don't think we talked about my review once or like my feelings on the record. It's actually kind of fucking funny. I don't think we've talked about what I think about that album once. I think we talked a little bit about how the album is doing in terms of like views and sales and stuff like that. But we didn't talk about not one time, my review of the record. I don't know what he thinks about what I think about the album. Now the Kendrick album, I did my review. I still pretty much feel the same way I did when I did my review, but I am planning on, trying to do a podcast either this coming month or the month after. It sort of depends. I have VidCon coming up, so I am a little busy. But I'm hoping to do a podcast very soon where I talk about, sort of like a bit of a post-album autopsy. And, basically a few months, dust has settled, the album's out, people have sort of digested it. How did the release go? What was the reception like? All that sort of stuff. Just talk about the album a little bit more because, certainly there are a lot of layers and stuff. Now I think it's easier to kind of contextualize the record in with the rest of his discography and sort of, do a contrast and comparison kind of thing from there. So, I've definitely more thoughts on Damn to come. So keep an eye out for that. Thank you, David. The CB Marcus says, what do I think about the video game movie soundtrack genre? Any favorites, any soundtracks? I really love, all the classic NES stuff. A lot of the RPG soundtracks to a lot of the Super Nintendo titles are fantastic. Of course, fucking Donkey Kong, like the Donkey Kong series was great. As far as like modern stuff, I love that Minecraft soundtrack. It's so beautiful. It's so serene and it's so relaxing. I actually think the soundtrack to Minecraft is part of what makes the game so playable, because the music is so hypnotic and so beautiful and so relaxing. Because when you actually just like play the game by itself with no music on, and I'm just thinking about the game with no music, like a lot of it is really fucking tedious, especially at the very beginning. I think if the music's not there, the game just becomes super tedious, and like that's it. I think the music is actually part of the beauty of the game and part of what makes the game so accessible and so playable. I would definitely name that as a great soundtrack, not just because I think it sounds good, but because it literally makes you play the game more or puts you into a lull where you just continue playing the game. Apologize to Wale. Apologize to him now, says a daddy. Okay, here we go. Apology to Wale. Wale, your melon is sorry. I'm sorry I hurt your feelings. I'm sorry I fucked up talking to you on Twitter. I was getting crazy. I was getting wild. I was a total mess, and I hope you can accept my apology. I'm just apologizing to you man to man. I didn't mean to make you upset. I didn't mean to hurt you. I shouldn't be so crazy with, the critiques on Twitter, because at the end of the day, your music is a reflection of you, I'm sure you feel. And, sort of going at your music like that, I'm sure it feels a lot like going at you like that. And, that was not my intention. That was not what I wanted to do. That was not how I wanted to make you feel. And, if I upset you, I apologize for what I said. I don't have anything against you personally. I'm sure you're a really good guy. You seem like you put a lot of passion and a lot of effort into what you do. I may not care for the results, but, you seem to put a lot into what you do. And, I didn't mean to attack what you may feel like is your work ethic, your passion, what you care about in life. Didn't mean to make, you upset about that with, sort of a nasty sort of hateful attack, because, I don't hate you, honestly. I don't hate you or anything about you. Again, sure, you're a good guy, and I apologize, and hopefully you can accept my apology. All right, that was my apology to Wale. Sent in from a daddy, $5 apology right there. I think an apology was worth more than $5, but still. And it was a heartfelt apology. Do not fuck with me, okay? That was a heartfelt apology. Bjork Best to Worst will happen. Eli Shane, I'm sorry for the holdup on it. I'm still writing my MF Doom one, but the thing is, like, most websites, when they come out with lists like this, they have multiple people writing them. And I'm trying to write them in the midst of writing 5 to 6 reviews each week and, managing like 2 other YouTube channels. So it's insane. Dr. Pepper Durf, thank you. Urahara, thank you. Do I like Blind Guardian or Amon Amareth? I do like some of Amon's tracks, but I've never really enjoyed a full album. Mason Leonard, thank you. Tony Tornado, thank you. Tony says, please do more classic reviews. I will. I am going to do more classic reviews. We have more classic reviews coming at the end of the year. Joint reviews with other YouTubers. I should do more joint reviews. It's just sometimes hard. I forget to, allow more people to come in and sort of comment on shit. I will do some more joint reviews because honestly, it is easier on me to do a joint review, not to sort of like get lazy on you or anything like that. And I know some of you guys hate joint reviews, and I hate that you hate them. Honestly, I like doing joint reviews. They're relaxed, they're chill. It's fun to talk with other people about music other than just kind of talk to yourself. So I will do another joint review with another YouTuber. I do have some more people, who I have in mind that I would like to do them with. So thank you for reminding me. I will write myself down, decide joint review person. I'll do another joint review. I will. I swear. I will. I swear. What do I think of extremist vegans? I understand passion for the lifestyle. I think that's totally fine. I guess it's just kind of a matter of, if you're extreme in your vegan views, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think it's just I think it's more dependent on what you're trying to achieve by way of that. Like if you think that being an extremist in your views on the matter is going to convince other people, you're a fucking idiot. If you're going to do some kind of vegan extremist jihad, I disagree with that. I don't think you should hurt other people in the name of your views. I think they're misguided, I guess is what I can say I think of them. I disagree with them on their methods. I actually think I'm going to try to come out with another, thick smoothie video very soon. I think I could convince people to turn vegan via memes. I don't think it has been tried yet. If anybody else wants to get out there and beat me to the punch, that's totally fine. I invite you to. I have a lot going on, a lot of irons in the fire, so I can't say I'm going to do everything, get to everything. But I'm going to try to convert some people to veganism via memes. So we'll see how that goes. All right. Knew I was going to get a question like this. Chase Wright says, Ween, personally one of my favorites. I would love to hear your opinion. Honestly, like some Ween records are difficult for me because it's just so much different shit across the entirety of a record. And I get it. That's like part of the appeal. But, they're one of those bands that like I've never had this moment in college or in high school where I was just like obsessed with them. And they seem like one of those bands that, in order to really understand them and sort of, really enjoy their stuff, they have to be, this is one of my favorite bands. And, I will get there one day. I will get there one day. And I will have an answer for you on that question. So chase me down later in life and, give me a few years. And, if I don't do it, I'll give you that $5 back. I'll give you that $5 back. Thoughts on the Faith Void album, particularly the Void side. What? No, I've not even heard that shit. So, call me a loser, Evan Rodriguez, but I cannot even tell you what I thought. Now, I'm sure there are going to be a bunch of people who are in the comments now. They're saying, what? You never fucking heard that shit, you loser. And, that's totally fair. You can call me a dumb melon loser. I have not heard everything. As far as individual albums, as far as like major genres and musical styles and trends, sure, I could talk all day, but I have not heard every single thing. So I'll leave it at that. Do remember again, I have not heard everything, but again, I'll leave it at that. What do I think of the new I.L. Wise album? I am going to do a quickie review of that in the next couple of weeks before the month is out, so keep a lookout for that. I will tell you guys there, but I will kind of give you a little preliminary thoughts. It feels very psych rock influenced, very garage rock influenced. It's kind of funny to see that the album is associated with Castle Face Records, because it almost feels like Zach and Andy consciously making a record for that label in a way. I mean, big departure from the last album, and admittedly, that is a bit of a disappointment for me because I really love the last record. Favorite Yay album, College Dropout. Thank you, Duval. Dr. Pepper, Durf, thank you. Gabriel says, wow, Gabriel sent in $50. I appreciate that. Gabriel, thank you. He says, I love you and your meme channel, man. I found you way back in the Justice Women album review. Okay, thank you. That was good. Wondering if you ever got to listen to it again or feel the same way about it. Yeah, I pretty much feel the same way about it. Like maybe my least favorite Justice album. I mean, I still love Cross. Cross is still amazing. I think I listened to it last month at some point. Still love that record. But you know, that album, you know, audio, video, so on and so forth, like they just never really came through with an equally great album in my eyes. You know, I know there are a lot of people out there that disagree. But you know, it seems like they came through with so much potential and they never quite capitalized on it. What other famous artists have you met besides MC Ride? I met Mick Jagger. I'm just trying to think of people who I met and like were on. I met Kendrick after he came out with Section 80 before he dropped Good Kid, Mad City at South by Southwest. If I'm thinking about South by Southwest now, there's tons of artists that I met. You know, but nothing more than just like a quick hello and a handshake or something. So it's kind of hard to keep track. The Rural Alberta Advantage, I think I met over at South by Southwest. I'm trying to think of who else. I met Michael Gira once at a show. Open Mike Eagle, Milo, you know, all those Hellfire guys. I'm trying to think of who else I've met. All the guys in Vector, really, really nice guys. I could probably go on like this all day, but I'd just be wasting time. But, you know, those are some examples of some artists who I have met. And I met Nardwar. I met the shit out of Nardwar, and he was a really nice guy. Vespertine is hands down the best Bjork album, says James Dunham. I'm not going to comment on that because if I do, I will kind of be spoiling my worst best list. So I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm just gonna leave that out there and let James just have his opinion. I'm not gonna argue with you. So you know what? For $2, James, you win the day. You win the day. Netflix and Chill Swimming by Nexflax is a song you retweeted a while back. What are my official thoughts on it? I don't recall it right now, because I retweet a lot of songs, but if I retweeted it, my official thoughts are probably that I liked it. So I don't know. I'm going to have to probably go back to it and, you know, see if I have any more significant thoughts on it. Armando Raskin says, metal music is cringy and it's all trash. I think that's a little extreme. Even Masters of Puppets. Someone in the chat said boxers or briefs. Boxers, bitch. I need that room. You're saying Master of Puppets trash? I don't think so. Wait, Black Sabbath debut trash? Power Slave trash? No way. Get the fuck out of here. Cringy? Power Slave? Get the fuck out of here. Rain and Blood? Mm-mm. Get the fuck out of here. Any book suggestions? I'm in the midst of reading Cat's Cradle from Kurt Vonnegut. I like that. That's pretty good. Read that. Oh, also. A friend of mine named Luis got me this really good graphic novel for my birthday a while back, or no, Christmas for my birthday for Christmas a while back. It's really good, and I'm not quite done with it yet, but I already ordered like number 2. I ordered the second one, so this is the shit. Really cool sci-fi epic about a couple who interracially married and had a kid, and they are sort of the two races that the couple are sort of members of are at war. So of course them like having a kid together and being married and being together is like illegal. So, you know, they're kind of like traveling and escaping from, you know, these people who are hunting them and shit. It's pretty crazy. So I recommend this shit right now. Saga. I also recommend this Michael Greger book, How Not to Die. If you kind of want to know all the health implications of, you know, eating the standard American diet, this will fucking blow your mind. You know, there are some recipe suggestions and stuff in here, you know, for sure, for people to check out. You know, so it's not all just like, you know, scare shit or, you know, horrible shit. It's actually very informative. There's a lot of like good information in there. And, you know, for people looking to learn about that. And I have not gotten into this yet, but this is Simon Reynolds' Rip It Up and Start Again. This is a book all about post-punk from 1978 to 1984, which is a pretty significant era of music for me. So I'm pretty excited to get into this when I get a chance to. So those are what I recommend at the moment as far as books. Fiction, yeah. Check out my SoundCloud. Not a chance. I love you. But I don't think I can. I don't think I can. But hey, nice try. But Sereno Dominguez, check out that dude's SoundCloud. I'll just leave it at that. So let's move on. Basket Albie says, will I do a GeoDaddy Classic review? It's possible. It's possible. And did my opinion on R+7 change? Good question. I was actually listening to that album a little while ago at the gym. And I would say I'm maybe a little more positive toward it than I was originally. Although that album did not make it in my original 10 albums I changed my mind on review. Probably because maybe my thoughts on it haven't changed that much, you know, but there are definitely some tracks that I like quite a bit and, you know, will return to on that record. But thank you for asking. Good question. Very good question. Very, very thoughtful, and very good that you thought of that record in particular. Good that that record is sort of stuck with you. Moving on from there, did I see Mike Seatown's Caro Caro Bonito review? No. He listened to fucking Caro Caro Bonito. Holy shit. I have to find out what he thought about that. Holy shit. That's awesome. I skipped a bunch. Holy shit. I don't want to fuck anybody over here, because people are asking some good questions. Oh no. Oh, come on. Oh, come on, buddy. Oh, come on, buddy. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying not to fucking fuck up here. Okay, here we go. Sorry. Did I check out the new Ramirez? I did not. I apologize for that, but thank you for asking. I mean, I'll try to look it up after this. Can I really tell the difference in sound with the gram size in records? I've never been able to get a full answer if that really makes sense. I've never listened to like a side-by-side comparison of a 180 gram record versus the very same record that is not of that same pressing. You know, but I do have some 180 gram records that sound really amazing and a few records that are printed super thin and sound like shit. So, I mean, I would like to believe that there is a difference. You know, at least in my experience, there has been a difference in terms of like the size of you know, the gram of a pressing. You know, I don't know or understand the science of it. You know, I couldn't tell you the technicalities as to why there is a difference or why there might be a difference. But, you know, in my experience, I do own some thin pressings that do sound like crap. So I will leave it at that. $5 guitar sofa. Okay, whatever. Do I think regional sounds in hip hop are dying with the rise of the internet? Answer, yes. Short answer, yes. Long answer, yes. I mean, you know, long answer, yes and no, because, you know, with the rise of the internet, you know, you do have kind of regional sounds dying, but look at what's going on in Atlanta right now. You know, Atlanta is very uniform in terms of sound for the most part. You know, obviously there are probably people down in Atlanta who are doing like boom bap shit or doing like, you know, crazy alternative shit. But, you know, a lot of the mainstream stuff that comes out of Atlanta, it's a very kind of uniform, very clear, focused sound and style and trend that's going on right now. So, you know, yes and no. Why do I hate Post Malone? I don't. He's a nice guy. Me and him patched things up over Twitter. asks HTML Popper, and now we're pretty chill bros. So how many times do I listen to an album before putting a review on it? I would say four to six times. Thank you very much, Mason Leonard. Sunday Jams, boring question, but any tips for us? Group of YouTube music reviewers on the grind. Ooh. Be consistent. Have your own opinion. Come out with content regularly, because having a review channel that is successful is a very long and very concentrated, very methodical process. I did not get to where I am overnight. It came through listening to a lot of albums, putting out a lot of videos. I have over 2,000 videos on my channel. It's not enough just to have a great review or put out an amazing video, because the whole reviewing thing requires you to gain the trust of others. Because when you're not established, and I was when I first started, nobody has any reason to trust you. You could say something that people agree with, but they have no reason to really trust you. They don't know what your opinions on a million other things are, because you haven't put out opinions on a million other things. I would say don't force yourself to, output too much stuff, but you have to kind of just stay on a very constant grind of consistency and quality, and that's how you get there. Make sure the sound is good, of course. Make sure the video looks good. Good fundamentals of video production. Obviously my videos visually and auditorily are not perfect, but they kind of reach a standard. You want to be at that standard too. And moving on from there, thank you, Dalton. Music Mixer 69 says, have I listened to the new Do Make Say Think album? Yes. Unfortunately, it just kind of hit me as very run-of-the-mill Canadian post-rock. I don't really have strong opinions on it, honestly. It was just kind of putting me to sleep. Didn't really strike me as anything new or exciting, and I'm just going to have to leave it at that. Lame Impala sent in $4.20. Good one. Will I roast Guth Cal? I don't know who that is. I don't know what that is, so I can't roast it. But I'll roast some tempeh after this. Do I feel all social justice is harmful? No, no, personally I don't. I may have said some things online where I'm comedically breaking the balls of the social justice wing of the Democratic Party, of the, left side of American politics. But do I think it's all harmful? I can't say yes, because I feel like not all of it comes from a bad place. A lot of it comes from a place of concern and wanting other people to do better, wanting other people to live a fair and normal life, wanting other people to have the same advantages that everyone else does. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wanting to have that desire. Equality of opportunity. There's nothing wrong with that. So no, I don't feel like it's all harmful. And plus, such a blanket term, social justice. I feel like if you only allow social justice to be defined by people you don't like, or to be defined by this really extreme negative thing, you take this thing that's essentially a really umbrella, a really kind of neutral, not necessarily a bad thing, and you allow people that you disagree with to dominate that and take that over. And I personally disagree with that. That's why I don't agree with this idea that because you don't like social justice warriors, or because you disagree with social justice warriors on A, B, C, or D, that you should abandon left-wing politics and, become a Donald Trump fan or become an alt-righter or whatever. I don't agree with that, because I know there are a lot of millennials who, may have made that jump, but you really agree with the drug war. You really agree with our foreign policy. I know that there are a lot of things that the right wing are pushing through under the Trump administration that you don't agree with. And you're basically making this jump just over a bunch of people who are really annoying on the internet and on college campuses. And honestly, while I know that I and you spend a lot of time on the internet and you're most likely on a college campus, there's a whole big wide world out there outside of those things. You can't, allow people who annoy you in those places and on those platforms to dictate the decisions you make that affect or potentially impact the wider world. And I'll leave it at that. Am I going to do more Siri Picks the Best Albums videos? Possibly. The one that I did I thought was fun, and I have some more suggestions for a future one, but afterwards, there are a lot of people who are hitting me up like, hey man, that just picks albums based on what you listen to or what's popular in iTunes. So I kind of feel like the cat's a little out of the bag with that. So, it potentially, the video did well. People liked the video. People thought it was fun. And I feel like, it's mostly more about my reaction to what Siri suggests versus like what's actually good or what's actually bad. There's definitely potential there, but I have other think piece videos in the works that I'm trying to focus on getting out. I got to get out that MF Doom Worst Best. I got to do that Bjork one and a series of other videos too. But thank you, Garrett, for asking and sending that in, supporting the channel. What is my favorite, least favorite? What is my favorite movie score soundtrack? I don't know. Probably like a Morricone soundtrack is really fantastic. While I do like soundtracks like Pulp Fiction, I feel like original scores are so much more important and lofty and significant. But simultaneously, I love the fact that films like No Country for Old Men, for example, use no music whatsoever. I love the fact that that movie is just completely musicless. Like the silence of every scene just like ups the tension of everything, and it's fucking amazing. The Strokes' best to worst, basically take their first album, and that's the best, and then gradually just go down from there to the worst. And there you go. You have a Strokes' best to worst. So there you go, Adam. Thank you for asking. Hope it was worth the £2 you sent in. The Tate Blaze 80. Thank you for the $5 Canadian. Again, $50,000 American. That translates to be. Dalton Sportsman. Thank you. Armando Raskin. Why do people consider metal music? It's all cringy and sounds the same, and it's ultra edgy. Shut up. It's so not true. Like, there's so many classic metal records that are fantastic. I understand that metal music generally on the whole is kind of campy, but I don't see I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that. There's a lot of vocal jazz that's super fucking campy. And are you kidding me? Like, there's a lot of emo music that's overly emotional and dorky and totally wussy. But it's not necessarily like there's a bad thing about it. I feel like if anybody sort of like expresses any kind of extreme emotion, like there are people who just roll their eyes and just like, ugh, this, ugh. Like, I don't know. Do you just like not like to have fun? Like, do you just listen to bland? Like, do you just like listen to Simple Plan all day? Or do you just like listen to like, Alter Bridge? Like, is Alter Bridge your favorite band? I mean, if you want to listen to something super safe, it's not cringy, it doesn't all sound the same. Well, I guess it probably is cringy and sounds the same. There's so many wings of metal: black metal, grindcore, fucking heavy metal, thrash metal. You can't tell me it all sounds the same. That's completely ridiculous. Views on Wolfpack. Wolfpack asks the bio arm. I will just say that I will say this and only this. Wolfpack, funky white people music. That funky funk for white people. It's a little jazzy too. Thank you. Install a friend. One person sent in $1 and it says message retracted. Probably put in their phone number or something embarrassing. Favorite LGBT hip hop acts. Probably right now, I think my favorite LGBT rapper continues to be Cakes the Killa. Big Mama's pretty sick as well. Though I think Big Mama's yet to drop like a whole project that I really like. I guess Kevin Abstract is bisexual, so I guess that qualifies. But it's something that, if you hit me up with more acts that you like and enjoy on Twitter, I will certainly try them out because it's something that a lot of people don't typically recommend to me. So, if you hit me up on Twitter and try to open me to more stuff like that, I'm certainly open. Yo, hey, Anthony, I saw your RT track by Lando Chill. Yes, you did. Could we expect a Why You Know review on this album? I don't know. I'll think about it. I haven't done any Why You Know review videos this week. I've been so busy. But the next bunch of them that I have, I will try to see if I have some room. I will write him down and sort of see if I could fit Lando Chill in. Thank you for reminding me. Podge. Will I review the new Rings of Saturn album? Most likely no, because that is metal music that I don't too much care for. But I do respect how technical and talented and virtuous they are. It's just not really my bag. I feel like if you're a metal band that's like so progressive and so flashy that like that kind of dominates the whole appeal of what you do, it's just like a bit of a turnoff for me. Why didn't I not review Oni Pond by On Oni Pond by Man Man? I don't know. Like, there's a lot of later era Man Man albums that I did not cover, and I don't know, man. Like, I was a huge fan of them in college, and then I think when the third album dropped, it was it was okay. I wanted it to be better than it was. And then from there on in, it was just kind of a turnoff for me. And it seemed like their sound was less compelling in terms of songwriting and emotional potency, and more just kind of like them continuing a shtick. Not to be really harsh on them or anything. It seems like they still have some passionate fans around. And, I think they were definitely one of the more interesting and unique bands to drop in the 2000s. And when I saw them live, they were so fun, like amazing show, which I hope they still put on shows that are just as like balls to the wall and crazy. But yeah, I just wasn't into the album. And I feel like there was probably a lack of interest among people who were watching me at the time. While I know you're asking me here, I probably wasn't getting that many requests to review the record either. And my reviews are, as far as like, curation, are usually a mix of what I'm interested in reviewing and what my audience wants me to review. And I kind of have to strike a balance between that. So I think it was kind of a mix of me not really being that into the album, not having a series yet, like Why You Know Review, I don't think, or maybe I did, where I covered albums regularly. That actually might have even made it into a Why You Know Review. I'm not even sure. But yeah, that's my bad explanation. I'm sorry. Would I be interested in doing listening parties on Twitch? I've explored the idea, and if anybody who works for Twitch is watching right now, thank you, Spencer, for asking. I am interested in doing that potentially, but from everything that I've read online, it said you can't play copyrighted music on Twitch and other people's music and blah, 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 blah. So, I don't want to do anything that's going to get me fucking sued or get an account I made banned or something. So, I'm open to it. If I'm invited to do it or allowed to do it, I'm totally down. But, as of right now, it's not anything I'm currently exploring because I just feel like it's potentially a dead end. Because, I might not be allowed to. It might be against the rules. But thank you. Publicly Funded sends in $25, says, what are some vegan foods that are unhealthy that I should avoid? Potato chips are fucking vegan. And, I'm not going to say you should avoid things that are unhealthy. Every once in a while, people like junk food. At this point, I think what is unhealthy is pretty obvious. There's a lot of quote unquote vegan junk food that is unhealthy. There are a lot of vegan chocolate foods. There are a lot of, again, potato chips, a lot of, vegan fried foods. There are, a lot of cookies in the cookie aisle that you would be surprised to learn are vegan, but in fact they are. Honestly, when you're vegan, what is junk food is still junk food when you're not vegan. Junk food is still junk food. I guess what maybe you should be wary of is all of these foods that are like kind of packaged as like, hey, this is like all natural, organic, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, it's still a fucking candy bar. And, not that you should deprive yourself of a candy bar if you want to eat a candy bar, if it is a vegan candy bar and you are a vegan. But, just keep in mind that just because it has that shit on it, that it's not necessarily like healthy food. It's not something that you should necessarily subsist off of or should make a regular part of your meal. It's more of a treat or more of a once in a while kind of thing. And that's all. Elijah Sly says, I've noticed in your reviews that you have a distaste for abrupt endings and fade outs in songs. What do you think makes for a good ending of a song? Ooh, good question. I love a good bridge that kind of coasts out into like an instrumental outro or something, or, something tight or punchy. The Beatles used to write some good fucking endings on some songs. I think, there are a lot of great Beatles songs that I would recommend that have good, solid, clear endings on them. Actually, simultaneously, one of the funniest Beatles endings, or one of my favorite Beatles endings, ironically, and you do say the abrupt ending thing over here, but I do love the ending to She's So Heavy, because it is kind of that massive, heavy, just like thick, like distorted guitar riff, bow, bow, bow. And then, it just kind of goes on and on and on until it just like cuts out into complete silence. So, there are some moments where I think abrupt endings are warranted, but there are some moments, in song production, unfortunately, where it just kind of seems like we didn't come up with an ending. And honestly, I think part of the reason why is that fans aren't really demanding better endings. Because I think once a lot of listeners get the intro, they get the hook, they get the chorus, that's really all they need. And that gets repeated. And as long as the song hits, 3 or 4 minutes, we don't really need to worry about the ending. Also I think like, A lot of people don't listen to albums in the same way that they used to. I feel like the way that we listen to radio has kind of cut a lot of endings off of songs. Nirvana had some decent endings too. I think there are a lot of good albums with songs that have some fantastic endings through the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, early 90s. But I feel like as the internet age came up and, music was just kind of like getting shoveled out in, almost like in a factory kind of way, getting produced in a factory kind of way. The practice of a solid, fantastic ending is kind of, died out because it's really all about the hook. It's really all about the first 30 seconds of the track, hooking people in. And beyond that, it seems like less significant. Let me see. Hey, Anthony, love your channel. Got any crust punk recommendations besides Dark Throne and Black Breath? Crust punk recommendation. Do All Pigs Must Die help? Count. I don't think I have any right now, honestly. No, I don't. And I apologize for that. I'm sorry, I fucked up. But thank you for supporting SUPA. Robert Will Song, Mr. Mellon, have you ever tried any UK hip hop like Jest or Roots Manuva? I have actually tried both. And they're okay. They definitely didn't stop me in my tracks in the same way that the new record from Wiley did. But, I don't know. Not to take anything away from them. I think they're talented artists. But again, it just didn't blow me away. But I have tried them, so thank you for asking. Wave Race 64, and I would probably caution you guys not to send in any more super chats because we are nearing the end of the stream, but I am going to try to get to the rest of these. So thank you for sending them in. I'm going to try to power through. Am I going to review the new Tabby album? I like Tabby's YouTube channel and we've collaborated. So, I feel like doing so would be a little bit of a conflict of interest, but I have nothing against retweeting stuff that he's putting out and that sort of thing. Have I ever heard of the Palmer Squares? I have, and I'm pretty sure I heard their music too, like in a PR email or something, but I do not remember it. So, sorry about that. Awkward moment, but favorite Vampire Weekend song? Good question. Favorite Vampire Weekend song? And I'm getting a text over here from Austin. I'm okay. Thank you, Austin. You're the best. He's sending me stuff he's like responding to things that I'm saying in text, and I'm like, what? I'm trying to do a live stream here, buddy. What? Tarquin, nice, says or asks, maybe not review, but you should listen to the new Ruins of Beverest album. Well, okay. I'll write that down. Again, favorite Vampire Weekend song. I don't. Maybe Horchata? No. In retrospect, I really do like Cousins. Cousins is a fun song. And I feel like if I listen to the debut again, which I hated the debut when I first heard it, I might like it. So I might have to revisit the debut. But, my favorite Vampire Weekend song, most likely on the sophomore record, I think it might be Cousins. That's a really fun song. Have I heard of Daniel Caesar? I have not. So Michael Jackson's aborted son, that is this person's literal name. You're a meme master. Thank you for supporting. Have I heard of Dr. Dog? Yes. However, decidedly not a Dr. Dog fan. The band's sound just does not do anything for me. And I sort of use the word sound in quotations because part of my issue with Dr. Dog when I listen to them is that I don't feel like they have all that strong of a sound. But that's just kind of my feelings on that. The new Physics House Band, I did cover them in a Why You Know review. I didn't do a formal review, but that's just because I don't feel like I had that much to say about the EP. It definitely didn't exceed my expectations. I feel like it could be better, and I feel like they really, really, really wear their influences blatantly on their sleeve, and I think they kind of drown in them just a little bit, to the point where I'm probably not going to return to the EP again, but I am curious as to what they will do in the future, if they sort of overcome that and sort of develop their own sound. Ivan says, Melon, I just failed my university exam. Put some memes to cheer me up. What's a meme? You failed your university exam. Here's a good meme. Melon. Who's a melon? Me, melon. Ah! I hope you're cheered up. And here's a mind-blowing fact for you. Melon is lemon spelled backwards. What do I think of by Charles Mingus? I think it's the shit. Although I think Black Saint is probably better. Probably better. And thank you, David, for sending that in. SEK, $20 in SEK. I don't know what currency that is. But again, I'm sure it's worth way more than American currency. I'm sure it's $10,000 American. Thank you. Thoughts on Elliott Smith? He was the shit. And he's definitely an artist I would consider doing a worst to best on. Some of his more mainstream late era stuff I'm not as crazy about, but he was a great songwriter, one of the best. And, obviously died too young. Unfortunately, he wasn't helped. If he had been helped, it would have been great for him to still be around. But definitely one of the greats and one of the best. And someone, by the way, I would like to point out was fantastically talented despite, what was making him suffer, not because of what made him suffer, because I do sort of disagree with generally this idea that, tragedy makes an artist. I vehemently disagree with that sentiment. So thank you, Luis, for sending that in. Ian asks, how often do I get recognized in public? Depending on where I am, not often at all or very often. If I'm at a concert or I'm at the record store or for whatever reason I'm at the Apple store, I'm almost guaranteed to get recognized at least one time. But if I'm at the grocery store or if I'm at a variety of other places, where did I go? I went to an aquarium not too long ago. Probably not vegan, I admit. But I was with my wife and a friend of hers, and did not get recognized one time, and that sort of makes sense to me. I don't think you guys go to aquariums, so probably not going to run into you there. But thank you for asking. Am I generally a Red Hot Chili Peppers fan? Favorite album? I loved their stuff when I was a kid. Loved One Hot Minute. Loved Sex Magic. Loved that era of stuff. Can't say that I carried on my fandom into high school and college. There are some releases of theirs that in retrospect I think are pretty good, despite me having not really listened to them or given them the time of day back when I was a teenager and a 20-something. But during my formative years of like getting little cassettes for my boombox, I was definitely a Red Hot Chili Peppers fan. What are my thoughts on I think it's a pretty good album. James Bones is asking about a Sigur Rós album, which I've never learned to pronounce because I'm a total loser. I think it's a pretty good one. Do I think it's the best post-rock album of all time? I mean, honestly, they've never been my favorite post-rock band. I mean, definitely a great post-rock band. Don't get me wrong. Like, not one of these second tier or third tier ones, that are merely just kind of copying stuff like what they did. So, I mean, I would say that they've never been one of my favorite post-rock bands, but definitely, like, I would listen to them any day before, any number of fucking Explosions in the Sky copycats. I would probably actually listen to them any day before anything Explosions in the Sky has put out after All of a Sudden. So, yes, most definitely. I mean, I think it's a great album, but their best, as far as the best post-rock album of all time, I disagree. I think, I would probably give that to a Godspeed record. But that's just me. Will I come to Australia? Asks Will Booth. Most likely I'll come to Australia again. Most likely. And when I do, there'll probably be some, tour dates involved, and you can come see my melon in person. I got 40 rubles over here, and this guy sent me a message in Russian, and I don't know how to decode it. And okay, But, thank you, though. Thank you for the 40 rubles, which, again, $10,000 American. I am making bank right now. Favorite King Gizzard song? Good question. And I think Jake is asking me to give the new album a 10. The new album might get a 10. Not saying, I'm guaranteeing that or anything, but, the last couple of albums have been great. I think if a rock band out there has a 10 in them right now, I think it is King Gizzard. And from what I've heard from the new record so far, it sounds amazing. So, we'll see. But my favorite song, probably my favorite song right now from King Gizzard, and this is likely to change when the new album drops, it's probably somewhere in the first half of Nonagon Infinity. I just love that album so much. It's a fantastic running album. If you run, listen to that fucking album. Great jogging record, good running record. But yeah, it's probably somewhere in the first half of Nonagon. But thank you for asking. Did I like Horrendous Anaretta? I haven't listened to it, Steven, so I apologize. I have to give an uneducated answer there. Did you know about Secret Band? It's basically DGD, but without the shitty clean vocals and more emphasis on actual hardcore. I should check them out. No, I didn't, so I will actually look that up. Secret Band. Thank you, Esquiel. Sherry says, love your channels. What is my favorite vegan restaurant in NYC? Mine is Toad Style. Also, you should check out the band Honduras. PC, a guy at my local vegan bakery, was wearing one of your shirts. Cool. I know when I like to go to New York City and I want something vegan, I hit up Mamoon's for some falafel because I'm a falafel head. But I haven't tried too many just purely vegan restaurants in New York City. Back when I used to go to New York City all the time in college, there weren't that many of them. Now it seems like, entirely vegan restaurants are the big new thing. Although I did go to New York just recently and I had one of those Impossible Burgers, I think at Bear Burger or something. I think that's the name of the place. I could be totally fucking that up. And it was crazy. It was like, it looked and tasted like a real meat burger, and it was kind of a mind fuck. But look up the Impossible Burger if you don't know what I'm talking about. It is a vegan burger that looks and smells and chews and tastes like the real thing, and it's kind of crazy. And it's actually not that bad either. I recommend trying it. I don't know if it's actually good for you. I feel like the jury's out on that. But I would definitely recommend anybody give it a shot because it is pretty crazy. Small Fry says, hey, Anthony, love your stuff. You've turned me on to so much good music. Picked up any tips for bassists? Oh, god damn. There's this channel on YouTube that has amazing bass tutorials. And I want to recommend him. Scott's Bass Lessons. Look him up on YouTube. Amazing bassist, great player, fantastic player. I've been watching his videos for a while. I've taken tips from him, and he's never led me in the wrong direction. Always great stuff coming off of Scott's Bass Tips. So look up Scott's Bass Tips, and when you do, tell him Anthony Fantano sent your ass over there. Because us bald white guys, we gotta support each other. Pure Heroin Lord rating. Let's collab at VidCon. Eli Shane, he says, let's collab. I would probably rate Pure Heroin like a 6 or a 7 or something, as of right now. Collab, I don't know what we're going to be collaborating on. I haven't even seen your YouTube channel, so we're going to have to see. Approach me at VidCon and we'll see, I guess. I think I can go to channel. I'm going to go to channel, and then I'll stash that for later, I suppose. When is the next It Came from Bandcamp? I think it might come out the week that I go to VidCon. Thank you for asking, Nick. I'm going to try to shoot one soon, and it'll be out the week I go to VidCon. Should I do, you should do a classic review of Joanna Newsom's Yeast for the 10-year anniversary. Love you, baby girl, says Daniel. Good idea? Maybe? I feel like there's so many classics I have to get to first before I even start talking about albums that are just 10 years old. Don't get me wrong. Yeast, great record. And it'll be interesting to see what people think about it even 10 years more down the road, because I feel like, it'll be interesting to sort of see people contextualize it kind of in that situation. But I think that's all I'm going to say about that. What is my opinion on the 2017 XXL freshman? Good question, Daniel. There's another channel. I've linked it in the description box, and it's also on the channel section of this YouTube channel, The Needle Drop. I have a video on there where I talk about that shit for over 10 minutes. So you got all my thoughts on the on that XXL freshman list over there. So I appreciate you following me over there and checking out that video. Macuispa dude asks, why did I not review the Power Bottom record? I think it's kind of obvious as to why I didn't review the Power Bottom record. If you didn't know, they didn't even release the fucking Power Bottom record. And honestly, I didn't pirate it. So if you didn't pirate it, you don't have it. The Power Bottom record is not out. So that is why I did not review the Power Bottom record. Now, there were some tracks I liked going into the Power Bottom record, and I did get some people telling me afterwards, like, hey, the Power Bottom record's actually kind of good. And that may in fact be the case, but I'm not going to review an album that people don't have access to, or even if they do, they're most likely not going to buy or spend time streaming or listening to it because of the drama sort of surrounding the band. Honestly, not that there aren't some good ideas or good things on the Power Bottom record. I'm not denying that or whatever. But the thing is, like, I feel like reviews, are supposed to sort of serve a purpose. I don't feel like my reviews float out there on the internet merely for me to just state my opinion on things. I feel like after a review, people should go check out the artists. They should go listen to what they have to offer. They should buy their record if they like it. And that is something that, due to the drama, due to what happened, is clearly not going to happen no matter what I fucking say about the record. I'm not going to come through and, slap a 10 on the Power Bottom record and all of a sudden people are going to love it. And, even if I do end up doing that, or if I did do that, hypothetically, that would probably end my fucking career or something. I'd much rather review artists out there, who are doing well musically and I guess career-wise too. So moving on from there, Young Nardwar says, would I consider making a Queens of the Stone Age worst to best? Sort of, maybe. There are other bands I'm thinking that I already have listed out over here that I've thought of doing already, and there's like 12, 15 artists on here, and Queens is not one of them. But they have a pretty solid discography, so I'm not going to rule it out. But at the pace that I'm putting out these videos, you're probably going to see it in 2025. Janelle Monáe or FKA Twigs. Ooh, my girl Janelle, I have to say. Yeah, I'm going to say that. Maybe it could be FKA Twigs if the next record is amazing, next album amazing. But right now I'm going to have to say Janelle, because The Archandroid, it is one of the best R&B albums ever, period. And we're just going to leave it at that. I wish she would put out another record just as great, but it seems like she's kind of focusing on other things right now. Do I know Farside? Asks Shenry. Yes, I do. Great group if you're looking for some old school hip hop, that's actually like really adventurous and really out there. Lame Impala says, Tame Impala's Fremantle Boogie Boarding Club LP? ? Yes. Morty, not eating dinner tonight, so can I ask a mediocre question? Thoughts on Porter Robinson since his and Maiden's Shelter single, Hard Always for You, Morty? I don't really think much about Porter Robinson since the review I did of his music, and I don't know. I'd be up for trying it again, but I'm not like expecting or anticipating much, that's all. Yo, Anthony, thanks for putting me on to Kiro Kiro. It is my jam at the moment. What is my favorite vegan recipe to make? I really love making curried chickpeas. A little bit of cashew milk, some curry powder, cayenne pepper, salt. Basically put some vegetable stock in there too. Cook that down with the chickpeas, some red peppers. Then you steam up a little basmati rice, and that shit is the shit. So that's one of my favorite recipes to make. Please recap government plates like you are with Damn. No, but thank you for suggesting, Adam. But I am going to talk about government plates in my forthcoming 10 albums I changed my mind on. So, keep an eye out for that, which I just kind of spoiled it. But, I'm going to talk about it. What is my favorite movie I have watched recently and why? I think the most recent movie I watched, what movie did I watch all the way through? You know what? Actually, I was really impressed with Ant-Man. Like, it took me a while to actually watch it because at the time I was like, Paul Rudd, Ant-Man, I don't give a fuck. But then when I actually watched it, it's like one of the better comic book movies. Like, again, really surprised and kind of impressed. Ant-Man, really impressed with Ant-Man for some fucking reason. Hey, Anthony, do you get promos from record labels? If so, why don't you review albums early? I review albums for a magazine and we get promos over a week in advance. That's because, I don't know, I'm just like not trying to do early reviews. Also I review so much, it's kind of hard to review shit early because I'm just trying to keep up with what's coming out now. And I do get promos, a lot of them are just digital. And it's just like, hey, here's a zip of the album. There you go. I don't know, I don't know what else to say. I just don't review albums early. Also, I feel like, I feel like it also kind of defeats the purpose because I would love for people to, after they watch the review, go listen to the album. And if I'm reviewing the album early, you can't listen to that shit unless you pirate it, and I'm not trying to incentivize that, I guess. Mr. Flipper Invader 782 asks a dumb question and says, why am I scared to day the N-word in your rap reviews? That's because I really have no business saying it as far as my personal belief goes. But if I start saying the N-word in every rap review that I do, obviously people's feelings on the N-word and the drama that would create would distract everybody's attention from the review itself, and it would just become about the fact that I've said it. So I would actually like my rap reviews to be about my opinion on the album and not about all the bullshit reactions that would inevitably happen if I were to make it my business to just say the N-word in every single one of my rap reviews. Okay. So dumb question, but feel like it has to be addressed because a lot of people ask it. So anyway, hi, Anthony. As someone who discovered Bowie's music after his passing, I was wondering if there are some good glam rock albums I should check out, and what do you think about Bowie's 80s and 90s songs? Not into a lot of Bowie's 90s material, honestly. But, other glam rock artists you should listen to, obviously T-Rex and Queen and Sparks. Definitely listen to Sparks. Those are some recommendations that I have for you. Thank you, Abel. Will I ever review The Underachievers? Yes, next week. Look out for it. Goodest Boy. Thoughts on Phoenix's new album, Ti Amo? There's some catchy tracks on there. I have not listened to it all the way through. Not a huge fan of the band, but, if I do get a chance over this month to listen to the entire thing, it'll probably be in like a Why You Know review, or maybe a quickie review if I have some strong feelings on it. But as of right now, I don't, Thank you, Eric Atkinson, for $5. Zach asks if I heard the Tabby track. I have not, as of right now. Let me see. Why does Rodeo get an 8 despite you admitting the lyrics were not good, yet House of Balloons gets a 3 for the same issue? Seems like a tad inconsistent. No. House of Balloons had more working against it than just the lyrics. I actually thought the lyrics on House of Balloons were laughably corny and sad. The lyrics on Rodeo, though, didn't make me cringe as much as they just kind of felt like, I don't know, a little average at points. I mean, there are some moments where Travis Scott is going into, more personal stuff, more biographical stuff that I thought was kind of interesting and cool. And there are a lot of lyrics on there that are certainly catchy, but I guess my main critique, or sort of what holds the lyrics back on Rodeo, is that, sure, they're catchy, but they're not deep. There's not a whole lot of like way deep substance there. They're certainly sticky. There's certainly a lot of earworms on that album, but it's not like a fucking To Pimp a Butterfly or something like that. The thing is that Rodeo has so much more working for it in terms of hooks and production. The features are fantastic. The thing is, albums don't all boil down to lyrics. And from what I remember, My Rodeo review didn't boil down just to lyrics, and my House of Balloons review didn't just boil down to lyrics either. So you can't just take this one aspect that I think about, two different albums and saying, well, one album has guitars that sound like this on it and it got a 10, and this album has the same kind of guitars and it got a 3. Explain that, huh? And it's like, there's more to an album than just lyrics, especially when it comes to hip hop, especially in 2017. So you can't just boil it down to that. So does it seem a tad inconsistent? If you look at it from a real, I guess kind of surface level, yeah, because Rodeo stylistically, sonically, musically is not even in the same fucking universe as House of Balloons in terms of just what it's trying to say, what it's trying to do, its sound, its style. So I would say that, sure, things are going to look consistent when you say, well, how come Rodeo got an 8, but, I don't know, Sleigh Bells Treats didn't get above a 5, and the lyrics on that album aren't deep either. You might as well be comparing it to an album like that, because, it's just about as close in terms of sound and style. But moving on. You and Sam Harris turned me vegetarian. Cheers, Trip Roberts says. Appreciate you, Trip. How do I feel about Tool, and what would I rate Anemia? Anemia is the shit, and Tool is pretty cool. Can I give my thoughts on B.O.B.'s album? I think it's bad. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Josh. Baba Yoga sent in $5 and says, have you ever liked any System of a Down? The first 2 albums are amazing. Don't let anybody tell you that those albums aren't great, and I'm just going to leave it at that. Those first 2 records are the shit, and I own the first record. Used to have a burned copy of Toxicity, and every single time I don't have it anymore. Every single time I think about that, it reminds me that I need to find a copy of Toxicity somewhere, because it's a great album. But the debut is amazing. Thoughts on Screaming, the song Screaming Females released in May. I didn't even hear it. I actually need to go back and listen to that. So thank you for reminding me of that. Press start and continue. Jose's Android says, did I ever give a listen to the debut album by Russ that came out in May? I did not. I don't think I heard it at all. I don't even think I was aware of it. So, I'll write it down, but I didn't. So, I apologize for not reviewing it, but that is in fact why I haven't heard it. But thank you for supporting. DN Montgomery asks, Anthony, discovered you always popping up in my shoo and perfume genius searches. Love your opinions and wonder what you think or would think of Black Marble. Let me know. I don't know. I haven't heard it, so I'll need to look that up later. But thank you for the Black Marble. But thank you for recommending. Thoughts on the Killers? I've never really been a big Killers fan. It's kind of cool in some interviews that I share some similar passions for other bands with them, like New Order, for example, but I've never really been into Killers. Never really been a Killer fan. But I'm just going to have to leave it at that. Their music just strikes me as just very bland, although I do like Brandon Flowers' debut solo record quite a bit, surprisingly. And I'm just going to leave it at that. Thank you, Sam. Appreciate you. Let me see. Pablo Collective here. We want to know how your take on music collaboration will work in a post-internet age. Music collaboration in a post-internet age. Good question. I guess it's all just going to be working over Twitter and email right now. I know some great hip-hop artists who, they don't even see most of the people that they feature with face-to-face. It's just all email and shit. All producers working in a bunch of different places, and it's just all over the internet. It's cool when you have a collective of people who are all in the same space, like a Brockhampton or an Odd Future or a Hellfire Club or something like that. But the thing is, in the internet age, it's just all done on the internet. And honestly, personally, I don't mind it. As long as the end result is still good, as long as the end result is still entertaining, that's all that matters. I think what'll be interesting is, these kind of things are easily applied when you're talking about, things like hip hop or electronic music, stuff where you're sending files back and forth and shit. What I would love to see in here is sort of like, live, sort of like organic, acoustic instrumentation sort of played or performed together over the internet. That to me would be crazy and interesting. I would love to see sort of the internet sort of overcome that hurdle into the future. What is the weirdest album I've ever listened to? An album that was so weird it was too weird even for you. I don't know. I think Scott Walker's Bish Bosh still ranks as one of the weirdest albums I've ever heard, but not the weirdest. Honestly, you should check out our It Came From Bandcamp series because some of the weirdest shit I've ever heard ends up in there. Some of the weirdest shit right now is turning up on Bandcamp because there's literally no rules. You can write and record any kind of weird shit you have come up with in your head. I'm sure there are some rules in terms of like content or offensive content or something like that, but some of the weirdest shit you're ever going to hear is turning up on Bandcamp right now. And if you want to hear something weird, that's where you got to be. You got to be on Bandcamp. Do I think Kendrick Lamar will ever return to the jazz sound of T-Pab? I mean, maybe one day, but personally, that's not something I'm looking for because I would love to hear Kendrick just continue to advance further into the future. I mean, damn, again, do I think it's his best album ever? No, I don't. I don't think it's as good as T-Pab, and I prefer Good Kid, Mad City. But having said that, I still like the fact that he tried something different. I still like the fact that he took a risk, and I love the fact that it's still a moment of progression in his discography. So, while I'm not a huge fan I'm miswording myself here. While I'm not the biggest fan of Damn, I want to see Kendrick continue to move forward. I don't want to see him repeat himself just because I didn't think it was another 10, and that's all I'll say on that. Dillinger Escape Plan, best to worst, right now, go. I'm sorry, I can't. I have not listened to every album as many times as I would need to put out a list that I would be happy with, because inevitably I would want to redo it later and I would want to kill myself. So no, I'm sorry, James. Dakota says, Anthony, have I ever listened to fellow Whitey Tabby's track Cranston? I have not. I need to listen to it. Am I going to review the Dua Lipa and Big Thief albums? No plans right now. I mean, maybe Why You Know review, but no plans as of right now. Have I considered doing an Opeth review? I have reviewed them in the past. Do they have a new record out? I don't think they do. If they do, it slipped by me, and I apologize for that. Would I consider I'm Wide Awake It's Morning a classic? I love it. I don't think it's old enough to be a classic right now, but I love that album. I do think it's one of Connor's best. And I do not like the electronic album he simultaneously released with that record. And I think it's so funny how that double album release was such a big thing for him. It was such a monumental moment for him and in the music industry. And it's so funny to hear people sort of in retrospect talk about that record like, oh, it's so amazing, it's so fantastic. And that electronic album, Digital Ash, Digital Urn, they're never mentioned in the same breath. Never mentioned in the same breath. And it's so funny. Not to laugh at Connor, he tried something, he took a risk. He was trying to hop on a bit of a trend that was going on in the indie scene. I don't think it turned out all that good, but I digress. But I do love the record. Someone under the name Bill Cosby sent in $50 and says, God, I hope this isn't anything terrible. Hey, Anthony, just wanted to say thank you for all the great reviews and the dank-ass memes on your secondary. Didn't really have a question, just wanted to thank you directly. Do I like Girl Band? Girl Band is pretty decent. Haven't heard a whole album yet that blew me away, but, they have some good single tracks, and appreciate you. I know you're not really Bill Cosby, or at least I would hope you're not, and thank you again for supporting the channel. Thank you, Non-Positive Vlog. What are my thoughts on the Blackwing LP that Dan Barrett released? I hadn't listened to it all the way through, so I can't really say. Did I play Breath of the Wild yet? No, I'm sorry. I have not. My fucking Breath of the Wild is still in the plastic. I haven't had time to play. I swear, I have not had time to play. Ben Rowe says, why did I interview Sam Hyde and Sargon of Akkad? Ooh, those are bad guys, so you shouldn't associate with them at all. Sam, I'm interested in his art as a comedian and as a visual arts creator. If you think that Sam isn't an artful and a creative guy, even though you dislike his politics, you're an idiot. You're literally blind. As far as comedy and what he did for the time that World Peace was on air on Adult Swim, a lot of the skits on that show were borderline genius. And it's that sort of potential that I saw in his comedy and what he was doing that attracted me to want to do an interview with him. Again, there are some things that personally I severely disagree with him on in terms of his politics. And I've had conversations with him about this before. But personally, I think if you disagree with people, that doesn't necessarily mean that you don't talk with them and that you don't associate with them. You act like a fucking adult and you just have a conversation with them. In fact, I'm more interested in having conversations and associating with people who I disagree with, because I feel like there's potential to change minds, build bridges, sort of quell extremist views on both sides of the aisle. I think that's why right now you have such a huge and wide divide between people who are SJWs and people who are alt-righters right now. Because the thing is, anybody who disagrees with some social justice bullshit is automatically an alt-righter. Anybody who advocates for anything like healthcare for all, increase the minimum wage, end the wars overseas, you're automatically an SJW. And it's this divisiveness that has led to so much bullshit and so much lack of coherent and fruitful and adult conversation on these topics on the internet. And as far as Sargon, you cannot deny the fact that right now, you may disagree with his politics, but Sargon is winning right now because he is putting out ideas and he is engaging in a way that a lot of his opponents will not. And that's why I think he's making so much headway. And that's why I thought that he needed to be interviewed. And that's why I thought he was worthy of a discussion. Again, there's some things that I disagree with Sargon on. I certainly was not pulling for Theresa May in the way that he was this past election. And I understand why he was. He's sort of laser focused on the whole Brexit thing, and he knows that, a Jeremy Corbyn presidency or, prime ministership is not going to bring the same sort of negotiation results that a Theresa May prime ministership would. Still though, I think that there are bigger issues going on than Brexit. I think there are bigger issues. I don't think this past election, Labor already committed to the idea of doing it. I know that there's still negotiations to be done, but they already committed to the idea. I don't think this past election, and, I can only talk so much. You should only take me so seriously on this because I don't live in the fucking UK. But at least in my opinion, this past election should not have purely been just a Brexit election. I'll leave it at that. I can't get into metal, any introductory albums. Get into early Metallica, early Black Sabbath, early Iron Maiden. That's all you got to do. And then you're in. That's the start. Those are the building blocks. Favorite current album, the new Kieran J. Callanan album, review out tomorrow. What is my opinion on gloss and other queercore? I think queercore and punk music that has sort of decidedly gay themes is really essential and really cool and amazing and should be supported. Not just because, obviously you don't have to listen to things that you don't like. But, if anything has sort of disappointed me in the past couple of years, it's the fact that gloss decided that they wanted to quit because they were catching so much hype and so much buzz. I wish they continued, because they were, a really good band. I thought they were putting out some good material, whether you appreciate it for the fact that it is, queercore or not. I just thought that their music stood on the merits of just it being great punk music. The politics were just kind of an extra, if that's something that you felt kind of empowered you by listening to it. But if you haven't listened to Gloss yet, look them up on Bandcamp because they've put out a lot of good stuff. Best LucasArts Point, Click Game, and Gentle Giant LP. I don't know the best LucasArts Point and Click Game, but Gentle Giant, man, they're a progressive rock band I have not listened to in a while. Oh, fuck. Man, I can't even recall any of their records. Listen, there's a lot of Gentle Giant that I remember I listened to in high school with a buddy of mine who was way more into them than I was. Man, I can't even recall. So I apologize. I know I've heard them, but I'm a loser. Review more Canadian bands. I'll think about it. King Gizzard's earlier work, I mean, it's okay. You know, I think King Gizzard is sounding way more ambitious and dynamic now than they were on their earlier records. You know, but I appreciate those albums as a good inception point. Also 5 new albums. I'm pretty excited for the 5 new albums, Daily Zach. So I'm just looking forward to the next one. This is $10 American in Canadian, just so you know. Question: what show has the best music right now, and why is it Master of None? I've watched a few episodes of Master of None. I haven't seen the new season, so I don't know how good the music is in the new season. Show with the best music right now. I've been watching quite a bit of The Handmaid's Tale, and that has a pretty grim soundtrack to it, you know, from what I've been hearing of that. So I'm liking that, and I guess I'll leave it at that. I think I caught like some Knife and some like Fever Ray in the soundtrack over there too. So any music directors using that shit, you're gonna have a good soundtrack. Shenry says, "Hey, yo, Melon Man, ever dig into those Tribe demo tracks from '94? I have not. I'm fucking up." Fizzo1, ever had the desire to create or release your own music? Yes, but right now, I don't even have the time to concentrate on I don't even have the time to concentrate on doing anything other than just like practicing every once in a while, you know, just like keep my chops up. I mean, the whole process of writing, then producing and mixing an album, is really arduous, long, and time consuming. And I'm trying to like, you know, run a business here and run a brand, which is also incredibly time consuming. And then to release it, I feel like at this point would be super fucking, I guess, I'd have to have a lot of fucking hubris, because honestly, like, to be at kind of the peak of my reviewing career and just be like, hey guys, here's my music. I feel like I'd kind of be creating a conflict of interest here. And I'd also be kind of taking advantage of the fact that I have this sort of platform that a lot of other musicians don't. And I'd feel like an asshole as a result. I mean, obviously I would have that if down the road I decided to release music anyway. But, you know, as of right now, it just wouldn't make sense because, you know, I'm trying to focus more on doing this than I am anything else. Have I listened to Eddie Cavan or Antimatter? No. Love You give the new Black Cray mixtape 4,000 Degrees. I'll look that up. I will do It Came from Bandcamp again. I do not have a favorite jazz album. Best live bands I've seen are standout performances. Sun was the shit. Swans are the shit. Man was fantastic. I saw a Need New Body show back in the day that was amazing. Death Grips is amazing live. I can't deny that. Nicholas Jar was really good live when I caught him. Fiona Apple was fantastic live when I caught her at South by one time. I'm trying to think of who else put out some amazing live shit that I've seen over the years. Caught Sufjan on the Carrie and Lowell tour, which was great. Mountain Goats were great live. Seen them a couple times. I saw Against Me back in the day, like in the, you know, reinventing Axl Rose days, the, you know, in the Fat Records days, and that was a great show. Thoughts on MDE getting canceled? I've talked about that in the past. I'm not going to rehash it here. What is my opinion on meme music? Hey dude, thanks for watching. Cyrenek sent in $5. More meme music, more. Devlin Limbo, love you. I run a startup called Everipedia with the co-founder of Genius.com. We are the Wikipedia of the Snapchat generation, I think he meant to say. You and That Is the Plan have entries. Would you like to see them? DM me. You know, hit me up on Twitter and show me, and you know, I'll check it out. I know this is not a music question, but do I think Donald Trump will get impeached during his term as president? And if he isn't, do I think a Democrat will beat him, assuming he'll run again? Okay, to get a little political. I don't think Donald Trump will get impeached, even if all of this Russia shit bears out, because impeachment is not a legal process. It's a political process. All the Republicans would have to be on board, or at least a great deal of them would have to be on board with impeaching him in order for it to happen. And even if he did get impeached, you would only make Mike Pence president. And he is going to be a better politician than Donald Trump. He's not going to rock the boat. He's going to be more effective at getting the Republicans' shitty ass agenda through Okay. And he's going to put a nicer face on all of it. If you think people are going to be as riled up and as angry about Mike Pence as they are Donald Trump, you're sorely mistaken. If you get rid of Donald Trump, there are going to be a lot of people on the left side of the aisle who are going to think that they won. They're going to brush their hands and they're going to get fucking lazy. If you want the Republicans to look bad, let Donald Trump continue to look like a dumbass and make them look stupid. Mike Pence is going to be way harder to run against in 2020 than Donald Trump will be. But that's only going to happen if the Democrats actually start running on policy and stop fucking up and being morons. Because right now it looks like in 2020, they're planning on running the same kind of way that they did this past election. And need I remind you that you lost to a game show host who is the same color as a Cheeto. So you seriously fucked up. The Democrats you can't let the Democrats sit there and act like, well, we need to do the same strategy we did last time, and we can't listen to the Bernie wing of the party, or else we're going to lose. No, we tried it your way, and you fucked up royally. In fact, we've been trying it your way probably since Bill Clinton, and we just continually lose again and again and again, and it doesn't work. So please, and when we actually do get one of you in, you just run like a Republican light sort of administration and you don't push through progressive policies. So stop it. Blowout comb on vinyl, asks Shenry. Yes, I have that shit. Kevin says, well, give a shout out to my band, Los Earlobes. Los Earlobes. There's your shout out. What do I think of the folk punk movement, asks Zach. I think it's cool. I think it's totally fine. I've not heard that Dirty Nil record, Robin. I apologize. 20th anniversary of Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction. God damn, has it been that long? Man, I should give that another listen, because that's a long time. It's been a while. 20 years. Am I all excited for a new MGMT record? Fatboy Matty G asks. Yeah. Favorite Tool record? Probably Anemia. Excuse me. I'm tired now, and I've been talking. My voice is kind of tired. What life events and choices have you experienced that allow you to be where you are now? Also, my friend Noah said hi. Says Oliver. Hi, Noah. Life choices and experiences. Geez. I don't know. Working hard and going vegan and staying hydrated. I don't really know. I went to college. I was a general manager of the radio station that I was at for a while. I interned in public radio. I was an early adopter of YouTube. Those things all severely impacted where I am now. I think, if any of those things boil down to anything, those are my passions. I think you need to find whatever your passions are, especially those passions of yours that you feel like you specifically are into that others aren't, and, kind of dive into those and, see if you can kind of grow within them. What are my favorite bass guitars that I've ever owned or played? Fender Jazzes and, Fender P-Bass and Rickenbackers, in my opinion, are the best to hear, best to play. Obviously there are other great basses out there, but those are some of my favorites. Favorite Canadian acts? I don't know. Right now, all I can think of is just generic ones right now that everybody knows. I'm trying to think of a Canadian act that nobody has heard of, or, most people don't hear of. And I know I've reviewed some obscure Canadian acts, but they're just not coming to mind. Obviously Godspeed, obviously Arcade Fire, and obviously, Dan Behar, but it's all, early Wolf Parade, but it's all just a blur for me right now. I apologize. Phil, why is Death Grips called Death Grips? Because they name themselves that, you silly. Ricky says, big fan since 600K. Ever heard of the J-Rock band The Pillows? No? I'll have to look them up. Thank you. Thoughts on Moon Hooch? I don't have any right now. I apologize. And can I roast Post Malone some more? Asks this individual who sent in $2. I can't, because Post Malone seems like a nice guy. Do I harshly review metal because I don't like it as much, or because you hold it to a high standard? Good question, says Cosmic Cretin. I think my issue with metal music is that, and not that I have an issue with metal music generally, The issue with metal music, though, is that when metal music is bad, it's really bad. Because here's the thing with bad metal music. Bad metal music is bad, and it's also loud. And there's nothing worse than loud music that's shitty. There's one thing for shitty music to be soft, but if shitty music is loud, then it's like, wow, that just adds a whole nother dynamic of annoying to it. And I feel like I have way less patience for music that is shitty and loud. Again, shitty and soft, that's kind of one thing. You can kind of ignore it. It's not as in your face. It's not as extreme. It's not as demanding of your attention. But if it's shitty and loud, that's another thing. Favorite project of the year so far? I'm thinking it's Brockhampton's up there. Pure Comedy's up there. A Crow Looked at Me is up there. And I'll leave it at that. Those are probably my favorites of the year so far. And there's probably another in there that I'm not thinking of that's sort of getting by me because my head's tired. What are my thoughts on Peste Noir? I mean, they put out some great records. I don't agree with all the views of the dude who, fronts it, but I mean, they put out some really cool creative stuff. Definitely one of the more creative black metal acts out there. I haven't heard Jamiroquai's new album, Asks a bunch of BS, and I don't really care all that much for Empire of the Sun. He asks what I think of their two records, or the two Vines album, and I don't really care for it too much, honestly. I've never really been a fan. Mr. Fantano, can you please tell me your thoughts on Coldplay's old album so I can formulate an opinion? No, I cannot tell you things so that you can formulate an opinion. You have to formulate your own opinion. But I mean, early, like super early Coldplay, like debut album Coldplay, not a big fan. Like X and Y, I do like X and Y a little bit. But like early Coldplay, not for me. Bay likes it though. Bay likes it. Top 5 favorite movies, asks Walker Nickel. I'm not really sure. Top 5 favorite movies. God damn. Pulp Fiction's probably in there. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas is definitely in there. No Country for Old Men is really one of my favorite movies, honestly. Oh, swap out Pulp Fiction. Put in Reservoir Dogs. Boo. The Thing is great. I love The Thing. Terminator 2 is amazing. I have really normie taste in movies. Don't even talk to me. I'm a loser. Did I hear the Meeting of the Waters EP? I have not. I have not heard it. I apologize. Opinion Parquet Courts and Human Performance is what? I don't even know what that is. I know Parquet Courts. Is Human Performance another thing? Is it a thing that they did? I don't really know. I apologize. I don't know all these things. Death Worst to Best. Thanks, Melon. Good suggestion. If I were to do a metal one, if I was going to do a metal one, though, I'd probably do Metallica. Hey, Jeremy B asks, this will sound weird, but will you let someone lick your melon head? Someone, yes. Someone who I trust and know personally. Will I let a stranger lick my melon head? No, I'm sorry. You're not going to be allowed to lick this melon head. I apologize. Thank you, Nathan James. Will you review a Tyga album? Yes. 0 out of 10. 0 out of 10. Would it be a waste of time for me to make a lo-fi garage rock music because the style is so oversaturated? Listen, Simon, and Simon asks a good question over here. Simon, you should make whatever fucking music you want. You shouldn't worry about whether or not things are oversaturated unless maybe you're worried about becoming popular or getting famous or something like that, or making a career out of it. If you're just making music for you or making music to have fun, make whatever fucking music you want. And even if you are trying to make it in the industry, you're trying to make a career out of making music, you're trying to get people to really listen to what you're doing. And let's say you're making lo-fi garage rock. I mean, that's still okay. That's still fine. But what you should probably worry about is, if you're going to make that type of music, is what is going to separate your music from every other artist out there who's also making that? How are you going to define yourself? How are you going to make other people remember your lo-fi garage music, and, as opposed to all the other bland acts out there that all sound the same? what are you going to do to make your lo-fi garage rock music special? And that's it. Maisie's Mind says, shit, I didn't mean to hit unsubscribe. Well, hopefully you got to resubscribe. JT asks, would I be down for a college campus talk series? Hell yes. I actually have some speaking dates on the West Coast and on the East Coast coming up in the fall. Be on the lookout for those dates. But I'm into more colleges adding me in the meantime. Contact me, anthony@theneedledrop.com. That's my email. OK Go, yes or no, Jack Johnson, yes or no. No on OK Go and no on Jack Johnson. Not a fan of either, but I see the hype. I see why other people like them. Would you go insane if Corey Feldman and Kid Cudi did a collab? Yes. That album would automatically be a 10. A negative 10. Yee Spaghetti. What did I think of Sia's older albums? They're a little bit more quirky and eclectic. I actually think it's pretty interesting that she transitioned so smoothly into writing and producing mainstream music. There's some cool stuff back there, but I've never really been a fan of her old stuff, but I appreciate the kind of eclectic place it comes from. If I was going to recommend one, though, it would be Some People Have Real Problems. That album is pretty cool. When is the worst to best for Weezer for coming out? Obviously, making a worst to best on Weezer would be kind of hard. And a lot of artists, when I really started thinking about this series, because there's so many artists that have so many records I hate or really don't like. And I feel like Weezer would be one of those bands where it's I'd spend so much time during that video just covering records. And I'm like, oh, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. So I don't know. Do I like the band Morphine? I can't tell you right now. David Ross, thank you for the $1. Am I planning on doing a review of Super Unknown or Bad Motofinger? Maybe for a classic in the future. I already kind of had my classics planned out for this year, but I did like Super Unknown back in the day. Those tracks, and especially the hits off that record were great. Some of the best songs I remember listening to on the radio all the time when I was a kid. Will I ever do an interview with Dan Barrett? I don't know. Maybe one day. What do I think of Redman? Great. Underrated. I understand why he's not as famous as I think he should be. But definitely an essential if you're going to dive into the best rap in the 90s, period. Thank you for all the great content. You're welcome. Says Jacob, I appreciate you. OGD Daquan. Hello, Melon. I worship Kanye. Give My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy a 10. No. No, I won't. Any Aphex Twins SoundCloud upload opinions? Not as of right now. Pseudo Fox, Fox, but maybe one day. Did I like Highly Suspect? I don't recall. Yeah, no, I don't think so. No, but I don't know. I probably haven't given them enough time to really kind of decide. Anthony, I skipped your question. I apologize if I did, Shenry. There are just so many hitting me right now. I'm trying to keep up. And maybe, I'll probably do a better job of this next time in the future, but I'm going to have to end this very soon. So I apologize if there are more questions that I skip. So, thank you guys for all supporting the channel, though. I do want to say that before I dip out. And I am going to do another one of these, in a couple weeks. Am I going to do a meetup in Anaheim for the VidCon? I am going to try to do that. I'm just going to have to be a matter of deciding where and when that's going to happen. An Abundance of Strawberries, Julia Brown. I don't know. Maybe. Possibly. I'm going to have to get back to you on that, I guess. Opinion on the band Wand, not a huge fan, but, I'm just not a huge fan. I get the appeal, the Psych Garage thing is kind of cool and some of the production sounds pretty neat, but the songs just don't really do anything for me. But thank you for sending in money and, asking that question. Zakashwa. Hopefully I check out the new Sleepy Sun record. Hopefully I do. Thank you for reminding me to do that. What is my favorite New Order album and why? I think it's probably either Low Life or Power and Corruption. Power and Corruption has some of my favorite New Order songs on it, but I feel like Low Life is a more consistent album experience. But then there's also the next album. It might be Low Life. What do I think of older drum and bass from mid to late 90s? I remember hearing that shit when I was a kid, and I liked it. Have I gotten into it as much as an adult? I mean, I think a lot of the newer stuff doesn't really, hit me as all that memorable, but, I don't know. I'm just going to have to leave it at that. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of old stuff from Square Pusher and Aphex Twin that I love the shit out of. I'm just going to leave it at that. I need to kind of buzz through some of these right now. So again, I apologize and my voice is about to fucking die. I apologize to the super chats that I didn't get to, but in the future I will try to be better organized with this and I'll try to hit more and, fly through these a little bit better. I'm trying to try to see the biggest super chats and, do I think the Arcandroid is a masterpiece? It's certainly borderline. Try not to make sure of, okay, so this person sent in, and I'm not trying to say that everybody has to do this, but, I just feel like it's kind of also something, I would feel bad skipping, but, this person sent in $100, Touch Me, I'm Sick, says, Anthony, do I ever get sick of consuming or reviewing the mass amount of music that I consume and review? Limeware, the social life, bro, love your channel. Man, thanks for turning me on to a shitload of music and helping me explore a variety of new tastes. Do I get sick of doing this? Honestly, there are some things about what I do that I do get sick of. Listening to music and keeping track of music is actually the most fun part of all of it. The social media gets annoying. All the editing gets annoying. All the online stuff that I have to do gets annoying sometimes. But honestly, the music part is the most fun. Honestly, if I didn't have to do any editing or online stuff or any of that stuff, I would have time for more music. Personally, I don't. And I think it's just because I make sure to give myself a lot of breaks. I give myself a lot of space in between records and listening sections because I have other stuff to do. I have things I go to the gym, I cook, I hang out with my wife, we watch our shows that we like, there are other things I preoccupy myself and I do that, just to kind of make sure I don't burn myself out on the whole music thing. And I think another key part of it is that I'm always listening to a different record. I'm always listening to a different kind of music. If I only, made myself review metal or punk or hip hop or just only one genre, I would get sick of it right away. I would want to die. I think the variety of what I listen to kind of helps keep things interesting and fun. And, again, keep me from burning out. August Campbell sends in $20. Thank you very much. And says, I've watched a ton of your reviews. Love your channel. What are my thoughts on extreme death metal bands like Dying Fetus, Aborted, Oceano, Thy Art is Murder? Thy Art is Murder has some decent stuff. I'm kind of interested in trying out the Dying Fetus record. Oceano I haven't gotten quite into, and Aborted has some good stuff. Extreme death metal, I think, is cool. I think it's kind of the point of death metal, to be extreme. I mean, obviously there's some death metal out there that's so noisy and chaotic that it is slightly a turnoff, but, that's not always the case. There's a lot of great, noisy, insane death metal out there. Again, I think it's kind of the point, not that I don't mind or not that I don't love bands like Death that are a little bit more easier on the ears and traditional, totally fine. But, I think extreme metal is supposed to be fucking extreme. So, some of it is just maybe a little bit too chaotic for my taste again. But, there's a lot of good extreme metal out there. Do I think mainstream rap has a bias to older rappers? Asks Vault Escapist, who sends in $10. If so, why? Yeah, but, a little bit, but only in the same way that rock has a bias toward older artists. You're talking about these legacy genres that both put sort of an emphasis on the music that brought it to where it is today. So, I mean, sure it does, but, not to the point where it's unusual or any more than any other genre has in the past. In fact, I think rap has a little while to go until it becomes as obsessed with its past as rock is as of right now. I lost my job today. The company closed due to high taxes. My mom does not have much time to live. Any advice? Can't afford taking care of my little brother on minimum wage. And this guy sends me $10. Listen, if you're in this situation and this is real, this is true, do not send me $10. Listen, please, you need to look for some kind of financial assistance. You need to be talking to somebody who's more of an expert in these things than me, myself. There are shelters out there. There are public services out there. I know that they're not perfect. And especially if you live in the US, a lot of them are shit, but there are resources out there. They may not be perfect, but a lot of them are there. And, I think you need to sort of, do some groundwork to try to seek out some help. And I will just leave it at that. Hopefully, you do find help, and that, on the off chance this is just you trolling or something, but seriously, my prayers are out for you. I don't know how much an atheist's prayers are worth, but they're being sent to you. Jesus Christ. I hope, you come out of this okay. If this is in fact true, this is just another example as to why, in this country, it's a travesty that someone could be in this situation and we would essentially let them slip through the cracks, mother's sick, maybe terminal illness or something, that person needs help. We shouldn't just let people suffer like that. We shouldn't just let people die like that who don't need to die senselessly. Any interest in reviewing the new Chone album? Not a huge fan of the band, but I'm willing to try it if you hit me up and, just pass me a link my way if, it's out now. People asking for worst to bests. I have thought of doing a Beatles one. This person asks a very interesting question. Wowsing says, and again, I apologize for skipping questions. There's just so many. Says, my professor suggests that I publish my work and I look into a career as a film critic. I feel like I'm nowhere near ready and I'm afraid to fail. Do you have any advice for me? Listen, professors read, papers and shit all the time. They're exposed to other people's work all the time. They're typically experts in their field. If your professor says to you that you have like a real talent in what you're doing, they've picked you out and said, this person, you're really doing something special here. You should maybe listen to that person, and try your best to kind of hone your talent at this, Now listen, when I say that, I mean like maybe focus on writing. If you're really good at writing, focus on doing that. Try to focus on doing that, and, secondarily try to be a film critic. Maybe you may try to end up being a film critic, but end up, changing that trajectory. But because you honed and focused on becoming a good writer, you may be able to apply or take that talent somewhere else, but if he or she sort of sees that you have potential in doing this, maybe pursue it. If it's something that you want to do, if you hate the idea of being a film critic, then maybe you should just sidestep it and do something else. But if it's something that you feel like you have passion for and you do well, pursue it. Don't wait and potentially feel like, you end up kicking yourself in the ass later because you didn't start doing what you ended up doing earlier. I kicked myself in the ass for not starting this channel earlier, not, listening to certain albums earlier, not, adopting certain things that I've adopted over the course of doing this YouTube channel earlier. So don't be that person, grab the bull by the horns. Favorite Radiohead album is that O Te Computadore, or In Rainbows, depending on what day you catch me. Kyler asks, any possibility of me being on the H3 podcast? I don't know, honestly. Not big on Misery Index. I Promise was great. I talked about it in one of my recent Best Worst videos. Oh man. I'm missing things. I'm missing things. Oh no, I'm not. Or no, I am. Okay. ARTV just gave the new Lord album a perfect score. What do I expect from it? It could be decent. I sent $5 before. Love your content. What advice would you give to a young composer or artist who want to become established in the industry? I don't know, man. First things first, you got to make great content. You got to make great writing. You got to write a great thing that people connect with. And then from there, it's so hard because the industry is so fickle. It's so volatile. The industry rejects and kicks out and doesn't work with talented people all the time. Honestly, like I have my opinions on what makes for a good album, what makes for good music, but the industry itself is so shady and so ridiculous that it's kind of hard to sort of climb up that industry ladder and just be like, hey man, this is how to make it in the industry. If you want to, honestly, to become a success, if you're asking me really more generally, how do I become a successful musician? The way that I'm more familiar with it happening and the way that I think in the future is going to make the most sense is that you, going forward, put your stuff out there on the internet, put your best stuff out there on the internet, and, try to establish an audience online. Because if you have an audience, if you have an independent buzz online that no record label that signed you gave you, then you could take that audience anywhere. You can be independent and have that audience. You can get signed to a label and have that audience. You can get kicked off the label and have that audience, given that, that audience still enjoys your music. So, if you want to become successful or established in the industry, you need an audience and you need to grow in yourself on the grassroots, because there's nothing a record label loves more than a band or an artist who already has fucking an audience that loves their stuff and follows their stuff, because that's less promo, that's less legwork, that's less effort that they have to put in, because they want it to be easy in order to sort of sell your records and make money off of what you do. Jimmy Hutchins asks, what do I think of Captain Jazz? Great band. Favorite Pink Floyd album? Probably Animals. And I'm just going to have to leave it at there, guys, because my voice is literally feeling raspy and I'm afraid that I'm not going to be able to talk tomorrow. So, I really did hit most of these super chats. I apologize to anybody who I missed. And, I encourage you guys to hit up the next live stream. I will see you guys in the next live stream. It's going to be 2 weeks from now. I'm going to be doing these every other week. And, just hit me up on social media. Like I said at the beginning of this whole thing, follow your melon on that social media over here. And let me see. There it is. It's down there right below my head, because on these platforms, on Twitter, and I believe on Facebook too, I announced this one. But expect another one 2 weeks from now. And I will see you guys very soon. Checking the chat right now. And let me see. Checking the chat right now. Live chat. Bye, guys. Transition. Yes. Oh my God. I'm just going to say it like that.